It's the SKOR North Twins Show.
The SKOR North Twins Show can celebrate their first win of the 2025 season. Declan Goff, Judd Zulgad here, hanging out with you guys for a bit after the Twins finally win their first game. Judd, I did the math. What was it, 100 and I believe 88 days since the last time the Twins won a ball game, so it's been a little bit. September 25th, 188 days was the last time the Twins were victorious in a Major League game. Wild one here, so hit that like button and subscribe button. Appreciate everyone, even during this losing skid, that has subscribed and supported the SKOR North Twins Show. We had a great episode with Trevor Plouffe on a Plouffe Tuesday. You can go check out as well on this podcast feed and YouTube channel. So let's run down what the heck happened here today. So the Twins were trailing 3-0 heading into the sixth inning. Same story from the offense. And, Judd, I know you have a rant about exit velocity coming up here. I'll give you the floor for that in just a little bit. But a lot of hard-hit Adam balls. Couldn't find space. A little bit of a mixed debut bag from Simeon Woods Richardson on the mound. Not his best showing, but certainly not as showing where he nuked the game like Chris Paddock or Bailey Ober did in the last two games. But in the sixth, and all with 2 outs, Ryan Jeffers with that torpedo bat, Ty France, Edward Julian give the Twins a 5-run inning, eventually take the lead for good, and the Twins find their first win of the season. A Harrison Bader with obviously a big bomb from off the bench.
Love that signing.
And, man, finally, it looked like we were heading towards a death march to 0-4, maybe 0-162 if you really wanted to go that drastic. But the Twins do finally find their first win of the season.
5 runs, baby. 5 runs in the sixth with 2 outs. How about that? You know what? As I tweeted it, it's not that hard, right? Like a ball drops in here, you get a hit there. No, it was, I can't tell you in my estimation how much that an inning like that was needed just to get some, I don't know, luck to a certain degree, but just to get some hits to drop in. Like, it's the White Sox. They're still not good. And the Twins were just punchless. And I think that I'm not saying that tonight's game is going to turn things around drastically, but I am saying I think it gives you a fighting chance to feel better about yourself and about a team that just looked like it was in the tank. On Bader, I love that signing, man. I absolutely love it. I know it's a small one, but, you know, he brings the defensive possibilities. The home run was nice. The other thing that I really liked, too, was the fact that, you know, when they got the momentum going tonight, they continued it, at least for in the sixth. And there were a couple of performances I think we should talk about that were, I thought, not enlightening, but certainly positives.
Sure.
Wallner, 1 for 2, but he walked 3 times. Okay? So he gets on base. That's important. I also love the fact that they allowed Larnach and Wallner to face lefties, which I think they need to do. And I'm not saying it's going to look pretty every single time. It won't. But, Dex, don't you think that we are to a point where if those guys are going to play, they need to play? And so I thought it was a real positive that Baldelli and the people that make these decisions it looks like they've said, okay, we're not just going to play these guys specifically against right-handed pitching. We're going to play them. So I did think that was definitely a step in the right direction, because at some point in time, those guys deserve to play more, and they're going to have to face, at times, lefties, and you've got to just sort of go with the flow there, which they did. I think for Baldelli and the purposes of what they're trying to do, that was a major step and has been in the right direction of where this ball club is headed.
So I had heard when I was in St. Louis on Thursday kind of about some of those things that are they going to give some more run against lefties? Because last year they were one of the most pinch-heavy teams and one of the least effective pinch-heavy teams. We all know the Manuel Margot situation there, which was actually like, and I know Corey talked about this, I think on Sunday or even yesterday. If you started Manuel Margot against a lefty starter, he actually was pretty effective. Like he was fine in that role. But 0 for 31 off the bench as a pinch hitter, whatever the final stat line was.
And a butcher in the outfield, which fair or not reflected on his total performance.
So, and I think also what I was getting at was with the injuries to Royce and Brooks Lee, who can hit lefties well from the right side of the plate. It sounds like they're actually now more willing to give those lefty on lefty matchups just because the pinch hitting was so atrocious last year. They don't have legitimate options to platoon against the lefties. So I don't know if that's exactly like just because the injuries to Royce and Brooks, that made it crystal clear to them that, all right, we're just going to do this. This probably was a philosophy that Rocco realized as some self-evaluating in the offseason of, you know what, I don't at every single turn have to give a righty against a lefty. It sounds like there was some type of shift from Baldelli, just talking to some people around that he is more willing to give those ABs. And yes, you're still going to get some, look, lefty on lefty, naturally, you're going to see some ugly swings. It's hard. It's very hard for a lefty to make contact against lefty. And
Absolutely.
Wallner was able to, find a little spot there, which was huge. And yes, he walked a ton today, which was also big. And I know people look at our friend Patrick Royce, an old school ball guy, doesn't really get the Matt Wallner leadoff experiment. But if this guy gets on base at the clip he's getting on, I mean, you have to get him in the leadoff spot, and eventually the home run and the power will probably come. But it does sound like they're more willing, at least for now, and maybe into 2025 and beyond, to give those lefty-on-lefty looks than they were in previous regimes and previous teams under Baldelli.
What I'd like to see, too, is, and we talked about this a lot in the press box last year, Declan, was I think what drove us both up the wall was the opponent would start a right-handed pitcher, and then let's say in the third or fourth, they'd go to the bullpen and bring in a southpaw, right? And the Twins would inevitably pinch hit. And it's like, but hold on a second here. That southpaw is going to pitch probably, maximum a couple of innings, and then you're going to get another right-hander, and now you're stuck. And
yes.
So I think that this is a nod to two things. One, I think it's a nod to common sense. But two, it's very important. Matt Wallner and Trevor Larnach ideally are going to be very important parts of your team, and they need to be trusted more. And it feels like that they are. So among the many things so far that have been a negative, I think that is a positive that is going to pay off, especially now since, we see starters taken out so early in games. We see a combination. It'll go righty, lefty, righty. So I really like the fact that it looks like there's going to be some trust here because, quite frankly, I just don't think going to your bench in the fourth is ideal. And I think it puts you in a pickle now because the guys who are out for the rest of the game.
And that's maybe some of the epiphany of Rocco of I'm now forcing the other team, like the opponent has forced me to make a decision. Now I'm buckled into it, right? Now I'm trapped into my own decision making, and now I'm also against the wall when they counterpunch. So I think, and that's good. Like I know that when you look at previous years, he's like, why didn't you just do that earlier, right? I totally get that frustration, but I'm also someone that believes in you should be able to learn from your mistakes and be better from it. And it seems like the regime is hopefully good there. On the exit velo convo, because I know you and I were texting with Phil about this, and then I saw your tweets about it as well. Of this is where exit velocity is overrated, is what Judd's words.
That's what I tweeted. Yeah.
And I do believe, I think it's misunderstood is maybe the better word, or sometimes we put just too much stock into exit velo. I mean,
Sure.
Andrew Benintendi flew up the middle finger today. And maybe all year to exit velo, because if you can find a spot, you don't have to hit the ball 108 miles an hour.
And it was Miranda who I think blooped one. I tweeted it. I think he blooped the ball into right field, which and go back to Sunday when the Twins took a lead for, until tonight, the first time and only time in the top of the first against the Cardinals. Buxton blooped one in, and it scored a run. But just to be very clear here, I am not anti-analytics at all. One of my biggest gripes is it feels like they get used one-sidedly. And so there is a counter. I don't look, if the exit velo is great, that's awesome. But there's also a negative counter to why is it not working? And that sort of just gets ignored. And I feel like fans at times put a premium on, here's what it says and here's why it's going to change. And I'm like, but why isn't it? And I tried to tweet this with a guy and he didn't get this. But on Correa, okay? The exit velo is great, but if the ball's hit in the infield now, he can't run anymore. So if your exit velo is great on a ground ball where the positioning is correct, which, by the way, these are the big leagues. Teams do have great scouting, like, if nothing else, Dex, on video, right? Then I need to know how slow Correa is going to defeat the fact that he's hitting the ball. Like there's just always a counter. And that's my thing. Because I don't have a problem. Like, bring up all the stats. Stats are fun. And quite frankly, analytics have done some bad, but they've also done a lot of good. So I don't want this. I'm not old man yelling at clouds of, let's just go back to batting average and simple stats. But I also think that there is a counter to things that sometimes work. Why doesn't it work? And I feel like, especially fans of teams at times, Declan, they get lost in the positive stat. Okay, that's cool, but I want to know what's the negative stat of why it's not working necessarily. So that was my attempted rant, but I think it came across as old man screaming at the clouds.
No, you're good. I definitely know what you're talking about on the Jose Miranda single that you're talking about. So and this is where, again, stats can back up arguments on either side. So that exit velo was 65 miles an hour, which is very, very low. That's in the blue. That's very low. Balls don't go off from the bat in major leagues at 65 miles an hour. But two things. Number one, the bat speed from Miranda on that was also very fast. He swung that bat at 77.9 miles per hour, which is actually very fast. That's above league average. That's a high bat speed. And Miranda is a free swinger. We've known that for the last few years since he's been up. He's going to swing at almost everything. And he also does make contact. He might not draw a lot of walks, but he'll make contact, foul some pitches off, and you can still, find a spot a little bit. I remember talking to Ryan Jeffers about this last season because Jeffers last year had one of the lowest average exit velocities in baseball, despite being, which is weird because when he does muscle up a ball, it goes very far and very, very hard. And I think I remember having this combo with him, and he owns, some of the hardest hit home run exit velocities. When he hits a home run, it goes very hard. And I asked him, are you doing that on purpose? Like, is it your goal to not swing as hard as you want to? And he said, it's interesting. As I've been up here for as long as I am, I now just kind of know where to put the ball. And there's definitely times where the hitting department and the team wants me to up that exit velocity, and he kind of has the counter of, well, if I know how to hit, and I'm not saying that Ryan Jeffers is by any means a polished hitter, because he's not Ichiro in his prime, but right. he has definitely he's seen enough at bats to where he knows where he's doing, where he doesn't feel the need that I have to hit 100 miles an hour exit velocity because I know where to place the ball. Now he's also using that torpedo bat, which has obviously been the number one talker of baseball for the first 5 games.
And Plouffe was great on that with us.
Yes.
I thought his response was just amazing.
Yeah, go check out that. Trevor has kind of made the rounds on Talking Baseball and with us here on the SKOR North Twins Show about his thoughts on, and more maybe honestly, the misconceptions of what the torpedo bat has brought to the game, because it is dead on. I mean, even as a terrible plus 25 handicap golfer, and he brought this up too, golf technology has advanced to the point where you can have a different looking club. It's science involves every year, and right. An MLB and PGA approve the clubs that are coming in. This isn't just like some fungo bat, weird bat that they brought off the bench that, I'm going to sneak this one up here and no one's going to notice. The MLB is well aware of it. But I get it. And on Correa, because I know we talked about this on Monday on our State of the Twins episode, that, how concerned are you at the plate? He hasn't been able to hit well in spring training. He's hitting all these hard atom balls. He still doesn't have a hit on the season. Now, he made arguably the biggest defensive play of the game for the Twins in the 8th inning tonight, and his glove is still definitely there and still obviously above average and elite borderline.
Great play
but still looking for his first hit. Again, you'd like to think if he continues to hit the ball that hard, those atom balls are going to turn into hits, but still your superstar and the guy you're supposed to lean on is still looking for his first base hit of the 2025 season.
Yeah, so to go back. First of all, that play at shortstop was phenomenal because it was 5-3 at that time. That would have scored a run, I think, to make it 5-4. He makes a diving grab that is just, that guy is spectacular at shortstop. He is so much fun. And to go back to what I've been saying for like 2 years is when Carlos Correa plays short here, don't take it for granted because we've seen a lot of guys that can't play short here. Yeah. And I mean, he is a phenomenal player. I think again, the problem is, and this is where it gets dicey. If he hits a line drive or if he hits a ball that's well hit, but it's in the infield and people are positioned correctly, he is out. He can't beat anything out. Yeah. If the I don't even know if this is what the right term is, because I think of launch angle as more, loft on fly balls, potential home runs. But if he hits a line drive, it almost has to be a line drive over the infield because then he's fine, right? So it's a very dicey thing. I thought the fielding was great. Here's my question on the torpedo bat. So since we talked to Plouffe, I've been thinking about this. So like the whole game of, sports, but baseball is adjustments, right? Adjust. If you are known, if you're facing a pitcher who likes to jam you, and there are certain guys that like to come inside, wouldn't you be more likely to be successful, Declan, by using a torpedo bat in that game against that guy? Like if you're not a torpedo bat guy, I totally get it. But I guess my point is, if you know that a guy's going to come inside and try to jam you on the fists, which is an age-old baseball strategy to stay away from the barrel. The barrel on the torpedo bat is just basically lowered. So wouldn't the torpedo bat be more of a tool in your arsenal? Like it wouldn't be your only bat, but wouldn't it be more of a tool in your arsenal for those cases? Because if you come in then more towards my fists and I've got a torpedo bat, I know I at least have a fighting chance to get what is the barrel of the bat on the ball, as opposed to if I know a guy's going to pitch me away, in which case I want the barrel of the bat to be where we're used to it being. Like I was just, because I think this is going to be like a very brief, like, oh my God, this bat exists. Is this bat legal? Is it not? But the more I thought about it, I would think that there would be some ways in which you could utilize it to your advantage in certain situations without it being like your only option as a bat.
Totally. And I think there's definitely some advantageous hitters out there that probably are aware of that. Jeffers is definitely one of the better guys to talk about hitting with. Now, I have a good feeling, and he won Media Good Guy Award for the Twins writers this last year, and he's a really fun guy to talk hitting with. I'm going to guess he's probably going to get pretty sick of being asked questions about the torpedo bat here soon enough. But it is a good point to like figure out more of, is that the primary strategy? Is that part of the strategy?
Right.
Because you're right. If that's the whole point of this torpedo bat, but then the counter of that, right, is, well, then screw it. I'm going to throw everything away from you.
Correct.
Because you can't square it up. You might be able to go the other way, but it's can't. Constant. So it's a constant back and forth that I definitely want to. It's on my list to dig more of in the clubhouse when the Twins have their home opener here on Thursday and play more games, obviously, at Target Field. A few more things in the SKOR North Twins Show. Hit that like button and subscribe button. Jorge Alcala today. By the way, the Twins and Simeon Woodridge in mixed bag. I don't think we have to get into too much about what he gave them a chance to win. He certainly didn't have his best stuff, but he gave them a chance to win.
Right. They scored some runs for him. Yeah, exactly.
Louis Varland comes out of the pen. Sands got the 6. Jorge Alcala was like, oh boy, which one are we going to get here? But this is the conundrum. I mean, he's Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde, right? Like, if he has the confidence, he has arguably some of the best stuff in the Twins bullpen, the dubbed best bullpen in baseball. And he is it's a mental thing here, right? Like, you watch him when he's confident and you see the liveliness on his pitches and his fastball, it just moves like crazy. You're like, oh, wow, this guy could be a closer, right? Like, if he really fine-tunes everything, like, he could be a closer, an 8th or 9th inning guy. And Jax today, again, a little bit of he got bailed out by the great play from Correa, a little bit of a shaky performance from Griffin Jackson. By the time Bader comes up, hits the bomb, they can rest Duran for tomorrow, and hopefully he can close out a win. But you saw that is the bullpen bridge, right? You saw when they pull their starter, if they can go from Sands to Alcala, and sometimes that might be flipped. Yep. Might be Alcala into Sands, Jax for the 8th, Duran the 9th. You saw that bridge of, in a perfect world, a 5-3 game, which we saw going into the 7th inning. That is their plan to win and close out those 9 outs.
Yeah, and I will give Alcala a little bit of a pass because on Saturday, as we've discussed before on the Twin Show. He got nailed by that ball. He probably shouldn't have stayed in. He did stay in. He struggled, but he just got hit by a ball in his pitching arm. But yeah, like that tonight, aside from the 2 hits against Jacks, I guess, that tonight looked like the bridge that you need. And yeah, to go back to Sim, he pitched 4, gave up 5 hits, 2 runs, walked only 1, struck out 5. But I mean, that should be good enough, and ultimately was not for him to get the win, but for his team, right? Like that's the thing too. These last 2 starts with Ober on Sunday and then Paddock on Monday were absolutely brutal. But I mean, Pablo didn't pitch great on Thursday, but they could have won that game. Mm-hmm. And Joe, for sure. I mean, I thought the Ryan start for a guy who hadn't pitched since early August of 2024 was really impressive. So probably not fair to dump on the pitching as much. It was not impressive. The last 2 were bad, but score some runs, and they did. And it's not that hard. Just loosen up a little bit. I don't care. You know what? You can hit the ball 1,000,000 miles an hour off the bat. You can hit it 0 miles an hour off the bat, or 1, whatever. But if you get some hits, but I do think that this should have gone a long way, because you are playing the White Sox. This should have gone a long way towards getting the monkey off your back. And so it's a positive sign. It's a positive sign. It's not the be all and end all. I am seeing a comment here, though, from Robbie B. Tell me about the Zebby Matthews start that you watched, because I suggested this morning that my leash with Paddock in particular is not long, and Zebby had a great spring training, and I'm not quite so sure he doesn't belong here right now.
Yeah, he was awesome. I was able to watch about 3 innings of the Saints-Columbus game today before the Twins game, and I mean, the velocity is still there. He was showing that off in spring training. I was like, oh, is he just showing off to make the team? Is he going to gradually, maybe dial it back to save some strength for longer starts or for throughout the season? I mean, he was hitting 97 in the first inning, 99 by the middle innings.
Wow.
I mean, he'll be up here soon. Even with, I know Ober, who I envision will rebound just fine. I think Chris Paddock will have a pretty short leash here. I think we'll have a pretty short leash, maybe 1 or 2 start. I mean, he can't have another 9-run blow up like he had yesterday. But if Zebby pitches like that, they can't keep that guy in the minors. I mean, that guy is going to give you a better chance to win than Chris Paddock. And then the problem becomes, well, can you move Paddock to the bullpen? Because you can't, if you outright him, no one's going to take his salary, and he's probably going to even maybe deny an outright trip to St. Paul. So I think, and unfortunately, how it usually shakes out is an injury happens in the pitching rotation or the bullpen, and these naturally kind of just fix themselves. But yeah, I mean, over under 4.5 starts from Zebby Matthews in the minors, I would hopefully take the under on that. I don't want to see him start into deep May into St. Paul if he's throwing 99 miles an hour.
Well, hell no, and that's awesome. Like, that's great. But yeah, Paddock is just, he seems like the most obvious one. I don't know that putting him in the bullpen is the worst thing too, because he did he pitched out of the bullpen when he came back from the injury against Toronto in the playoffs and looked pretty good. So that's not the worst thing. But yeah, like if Paddock gets moved out because the top 3 guys are secure, and I think Sim is too, and should be, I wouldn't object. And you know what? At some point in time, with guys going down, you go through that list, Zebby and Festa are going to be here for at least stints, if not the entire year, once they get here. And that's exciting. Like, you do have, for the first time now, beyond Bailey, you've got guys you've developed and who are going to come up and help you. So, like, but if Zebby's gonna continue to throw like that, I'm with you. I don't see how you don't find a way to get him here in the rotation. And he certainly has the control and the attributes that I think would not cause problems here. So
yeah, absolutely. I'll have another extra innings episode tomorrow and hopefully the game gets in, to be honest. There's some interesting weather in Chicago.
Oh, do we got more rain coming?
Yeah, so we might be on TBD. You might be on rain delay territory tomorrow in Chicago. Pablo Lopez making his second start for the Twins, trying to get them back to 2-4 before they head back to Houston, or head back here to host Houston for their home opener. And by the way, we'll be hanging out at Kieran's, maybe celebrating back-to-back win streaks, their first win streak of the season from 1 to 2 o'clock this Thursday, April 3rd, a live Twin Show broadcast. By the way, for those that aren't in Minneapolis or aren't going to be at opening day, we'll have that streaming live on this YouTube channel too. So we will be also streaming live here on the SKOR North YouTube channel. Will be able to be consumed on the podcast feeds too. So appreciate that. And yeah, we'll have an extra innings episode tomorrow. Trevor Plouffe was great today. We quizzed him on the 2016 Twins that started 0-9. Luckily, this 2025 Twins will not be starting 0-9, so we got that going for us. So check that out. Appreciate everyone who has listened and supported and watched the SKOR North Twins Show. For the Sports Dad, I'm Dex. Hit that like button, subscribe button. We'll be talking at you soon.